Hi everyone, we're looking here at the NQ on the 250 tick chart. So you can see here we have this uptrend going and we have these two legs down. Price broke this range here and basically looking to get in on a fade of this range. Now we have to be more careful here because price met you can see this channel here, which is not quite perfect there. Let me fix that. So this channel, we have these two bounces off the lows, we have these two bounces off the highs, and when price pushes off one side, you can expect it to attempt to reach the other side. That's why I wasn't immediately buying this measured move here. You can see it ended up just pushing straight through here, and that's why. So you want to wait for confirmation if price had just come off of a more key level. Like in this case here, this is not the overnight high. This is the channel high, and price overshot right after two legs up. That's another reason for a reversal possibility because this uptrend has a break and a push to a new high. So you want to wait for confirmation. Again, that's why I didn't just buy that measured move right there, because you don't know that it's going to hold. It could very easily just push straight on through, and in this case here, that's what happened. And so now we have to switch gears because I'm no longer looking to get long here on a fade, because that is long gone now. So this downtrend has a break and a push to a new low, so this downtrend is considered played out. So, whoops. So the downtrend is considered played out, and we're pushing through the overnight low right here. So we just got to wait and see what price does, because if we push on higher here and get a clear fade, then we can look to get in on a reversal pattern, which looks like what we might end up doing here. However, if price attempts to fade back in but ultimately can't, then as soon as we break back out, then we can look to get short on a failed second entry long. And so we just got to wait and see what price does. We already have this first leg to a new low. It successfully made the new low, but it could still make a second leg down. That's very common. So on the way down, it could form that entry. But we just got to wait and see. We could get a two-legged retest of this overnight low for a long as well, because this downtrend, this is its own downtrend. Even though, this push down here is the push to a new low from this downtrend break, it still is its own downtrend, and if we get a couple attempts at a new low, then it would be from the top, downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. And so we could get in on a failure for a long entry because of that too. So anyway, I just wanted to explain what's going on here. Yesterday price had this large range, and we broke out with this big second leg down, so there is still a possibility of a larger fade overall. And so we got to consider that too. If we get two major attempts and then a clear failure, then that'll be more comfortable for, it'll just take my mind off of the fade possibility. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording here, and I'll start it up when something interesting happens. All right, so I'm looking to get in on some kind of higher low here. So we have these two legs up, the measured move is still in play, and you can see from here we've made two attempts to reverse, and so if we can get a hold above, then we can still enter long, because if we get two attempts to reverse and it has a strong hold above, then we can get in on a failure. So I'm going to get an order ready in case we get a good close above the EMA here. It is seeming to reject it every time so far. It could be needing another larger attempt because these two legs down here really just form one leg, and so you can kind of see from the top we have downtrend, break up to this wick, and then push to a new low. And so it could happen soon here, but we could also just get a reversal. So we kind of just got to see what happens. If price pushes on down to the overnight low, I'm not going to be buying that as a measured move, even though you can see here it's clearly forming something. Because it's too thin, and it would be right after a strong push down. After it's not that strong, but it'd be right after a push down, right after two legs up, and it would be that second leg down, and it would have a much larger measured move still in play. So a larger down measured move in play. So I would not be buying that here. So yeah, it looks like we're not getting that. So I was just thinking we could get some higher low here soon, but it just immediately started pushing lower. Now we're retesting the overnight low. And yeah, so if we push up from here, we could push up into another failed second entry for a long entry. we just got to see what it does. You know, if price drops on through here, then we got to switch gears. We got to look to start getting short. If it pushes through, I'd like to see 2 clear attempts retesting. That could offer us a great short and continue on down to reach the larger measured move that we have in play, which I'll just draw it out here. This right here. So you can see this downtrend has a break. This is the first attempt at a new low. It successfully made that new low, and we got 2 attempts to reverse from there. But you know, as you can see, we're clearly making a second leg down in this 2-legged move. So basically, the bulls want to hold on this overnight low right here, and the bears want to push through to reach this measured move level. And so, you know, we just got to see what price does and just kind of be patient. I know I say that a lot, see what price does, but it's true. You just got to be patient and wait for price to, you know, get in an area that it's better to offer an entry. So like here, we're pushing on up. I'm not going to buy here because, again, we have this large down measured move in play. It's been very bearish overall, so I'm not going to just buy because I see a green bar pushing off the overnight low. But we could push up into a failed second entry from here and get a, you know, we could push up into a long entry. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again. I just thought I'd unpause it and explain what's going on here. And yeah, see you all in a bit. Alright, so we're looking at the ES here. We're on the 500 tick chart. So here's what we have. We have this large downtrend. I'm going to zoom out more. We have this, you know, these 2 legs down here stemming from yesterday, or not yesterday, but, you know, Thursday. And so 2 legs down. It shot right through that measured move, went into this sharp downtrend here. And you can see from here we're making these 2 legs down. I'll draw them out here. So first leg, and then we got that second leg down here. And so yeah, basically looking to, and yeah, it looks like we've missed it, but looking to get in on this right here. I'm going to cancel that. So 2 legs back, you can see from this, when we broke out of the overnight low, it kind of just shot out here. And then we finally got this first leg back. And then you can see we have a 2-legged correction before making that second leg up here. And that second leg up was unable to reach the highs, it looks like. So it kind of just took off without us there. But no big deal. It's only 9, so plenty of trades ahead. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. Just thought I'd explain what I'm looking at here. Wish I got a fill, but it's whatever. So anyway, let's hop over to the NQ. I'll just explain that real quick. You know, we pushed down here. We got a couple attempts to reverse. It's not as in a clean of a range, but, you know, also looking for shorts on the way down here. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again, and I'll be back soon. Alright, so we're looking to get short again. It just rejected that high right there, which is a bit annoying. But this measured move pushes past that high, so I am looking to actually get short a little higher than that high. So yeah, basically what I'm looking at here is you can see after price pushed out of the overnight low here, we got a little break, so downtrend, and then this push up here is the break, which I'll just draw that out so it's a little easier to see. At first you technically got this small break pushed to a new low right there, and then this is the reversal attempt. The reversal attempt is just creating the bigger picture break. So we have this 2-legged break right here, and then we have a larger push to a new low, and so the new low is met at this point, and then we get this reversal attempt. So first attempt higher, and even though, you know, it's a lot of wick right there, so we, you know, it just keeps pushing lower as I'm talking, but I was gonna say we could get another leg up, not at this point. But so it just took off without us again, but no big deal. So now what we can see here is we have to combine the legs again. If a failure occurs, then you got to start combining structures. So price just failed to reverse right there. And so you can see this downtrend, like I said, initially this was the small break pushed to a new low, and then we got a bigger break pushed to a new low. What we have here is our first leg at a new low, so downtrend, break, this whole thing, even though it's kind of choppy and sideways, it is a leg. And then this is the second leg down, so first leg at a new low, second leg at a new low. And of course it's gone a lot further than that measured move, but we could get a couple legs back, retesting it for another short opportunity. So that's what we're looking at here. Soon we could get a couple things back. We of course have this larger down measured move in play, which is of course great for going short. And yeah, I just wanted to explain that. I thought I was going to get in there, but you know, anyway. I will see y'all shortly. Alright, so this measured move was just met. I'm going to enter right below this. Price is very bearish. Let me just fix that. And then I'll explain. So, not going for as much as my ATM was just on. So, we're just going to go for, which I meant to, okay, so we're going for 22. This is 1-to-1 risk to reward. And yeah, so basically just pushing a little bit past these lows right here. Price has been very bearish all day. And I didn't buy, or excuse me, I didn't go short directly on this measured move level because it wasn't retesting anything, and the chance of it retesting, you know, like this up here is pretty high. So the good signal bar, the great reaction closing on its low was good enough for me. I didn't really care about it getting below the EMA because price had just been cranking down all day, so it was not really a concern to me, because it was making this double top right here as well as being this measured move. And one thing I'm going to point out, because I know someone might ask about it, is how this wick is lower than there. Bodies are bigger picture than wick, and so I draw it from here. And just because the wick went lower here, I don't really care. I just draw it to the body. Great measured move reaction, good bar here, and yeah, so that's the trade here. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play out. It nearly filled us here. It's pulling back, you know, struggling a bit to get through these lows, but overall it's very bearish, so I'm not worried. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this trade play out for y'all to enjoy, and I'll see y'all later. All right, and we are out of that. I went a bit bit longer than I was hoping here. But sometimes it happens. It's just a part of trading. I was thinking that after, like, if price were to have gotten a clear bounce right here and we were to have start pushing on up again, then I would have tried to get out at the lows because, at first there wasn't too much support here. It's just this double bottom, and then price held, and then it held again. And so then we got this reversal attempt, another hold right here. So we've had 3 holds. And then when it makes this second entry to the, this trend line here, if price had gotten a clear hold right here and we started pushing on higher, then I would have just dragged the target to the lows, because at that point, if price still can't get through after a second entry like that, then, that's just really telling us that price is switching gears. And, it wouldn't be 1-to-1 at that point, raising the target, but, the support was becoming pretty damn clear. So, we can't just ignore it forever. But we pushed on through here. This last bit, this second entry to the trend line, that was enough to finally get us through. But yeah, sometimes that happens. It's going to go near your target and then just go sideways before finally dropping on down. There's definitely nothing atypical about that. But yeah, so great looking trade here. 2 legs up, great reaction. Again, in this particular case here, I wasn't wanting to go short directly on the measured move. I waited for this bar here. Overall, price was very bearish. And yeah, so that's why I like this trade right here. Prices, we broke out, we kind of faded back in here. And so right now we're going to see how price reacts to this trend line. We got a good bounce there, but we're already closing out. So, we'll see what happens here. We could get if as price pushes out more, we need to consider that this downtrend is likely to attempt a new low. If price breaks it, after price breaks a downtrend, we're likely to get a new low attempt. And so we need to consider that. At the same time, when we start pushing out here, the bulls are going to want to fade this range up here, this overnight low. And so we just got to stick with what price does. If price pushes higher, we get 2 legs down with a clear hold above the EMA, then we could get long on a new low failure. But if we get a clear break, rush below with 2 legs back holding below the EMA, then we could get in on the leg to make the new low for this downtrend break. So we just kind of got to stick with what price does. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for now, and I'll see you all in a bit. Alright, so I stepped away for a second and I come back and I see this. So we have from here a push down, 2 legs back, so that is creating a big picture of failed second entry. So first entry long, second entry long, and then we would look to get in on the failure up here. And so price had already pushed down and didn't quite reach that measured move. It didn't even reach that previous swing high. But from here, after that first push up, we had these couple legs down, and then you can see from this low, there's 2 smaller legs up. And then, as I walked in, it really shot down very quickly here. And so, basically what we have here is a big picture failed second entry. Now, we're not able to get in on the initial push down here, as you can see, but if we, continue a little lower, there is a chance for a smaller failed second entry to set up below the EMA. The failed second entry would be stemming, of course, from this swing here. So push lower, couple legs back, that can offer us a short still. But we obviously don't want price to test this level first, because if it tests down here, then, like it just did, then, price is likely to start moving to the other side. If we get a couple legs back, it's less likely to work now because it just tested this level, which is clearly a, strong support zone. It's been holding a whole lot here. So, we're not exactly gonna go short after 2 legs up here now. And so, by the way, we're looking at the NQ. Just to be clear, that last trade was on the ES, and now we're looking at the NQ here. So now that we're testing this strong level here, we could push up and get a long, possibly, if we can manage to hold above the EMA. We're pushing on lower here. So now that we're pushing further and further out, and like I always say, we just got to stick with what price does. So if we continue lower here and we get a couple legs up, we can get short on a retest of this level and just continue with the overall downtrend. But upon a successful fade, then we will have to switch gears. We could get a long, a smaller one. Obviously, overall, we're still down. But if we get a fade of this very clear resistance level here, push back higher, we can get long on a short-term reversal. So, we just got to be patient here. So what I would really rather see is 2 legs up retesting, because we have this measured move in play now. You can see here. So we got plenty of room left in that. So if we can get a couple clear legs up, that can offer us a great short. And, we can look to ride price down to here. So, that's what I'm looking at here. And over on the ES, I need to do some analysis again. I just got back to the computer. So, we could go into something like this. Those lows are fitting well. The highs look a bit weird, but the lows are fitting well here. Overall, this downtrend has a break, push to a new low, so a reversal attempt is likely here. If we get a couple legs up here with a clear hold, then we can still get short on this trend that's forming. But overall, this downtrend has played out. So on 2 legs up here, that would basically be a reversal attempt. So we would need to see a good hold. But back to the NQ, we have that first leg up. We could get a second leg up here. I want to remove this just to declutter. So first leg up, we could get our second leg up here. And overall, price is very bearish. This downtrend has a break. First attempt lower, second attempt lower. It made the new low, but again, the down measured move is still in play. Overall, very bearish. So I'm going to go short here. Oh, whoops. So, yeah, it's just right before the measured move, right before that resistance level here. And yeah, I'm probably just going to pause the video until we get a fill or until it takes off without me, whichever comes first. So I'll see y'all in a bit. Alright, so we just got filled. I'm setting up my thing here. So this is 100 tick stop, 100 tick target. And yeah, so again, we're getting this 2-legged retest of this clear support level right here. We have this larger down measured move still in play. This is right after a bigger picture failed second entry. So again, downtrend, 2-legged break. That's your failed second entry. First leg at a new low, 2-legged correction, and basically catching that, second leg down from here. So like downtrend, 2-legged break, first attempt lower, and then second attempt lower in order to reach this larger down measured move. So yeah, that's the trade here. It's pushing a little bit in here. It is fading up a bit, which, obviously I don't want to see, but it's pretty common. It is a fade area. It is a range right here. But overall, price is very bearish. And so yeah, that's the trade we're taking here. And I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in a bit and mute my mic and let y'all enjoy this trade. I'll see y'all in a bit. Alright, so we just got out of that. You can see here that's 100 ticks, two-legged retest of this level here, this larger down measured move in play. Price has been very bearish all day. I'm kind of just re-explaining the trade here. And so yeah, when this measured move is met, it doesn't mean there's going to be a full-on reversal here because overall price is very bearish, but we are going to want to be careful of going short because it is it is still an area where it's more likely to get a reversal. So I would just like to see a couple clear attempts up before getting a pushback down, which we could look to get in on. So like say price reaches here, we get a couple legs up. I'm not going to go short directly on the 2 legs up unless we get like a very clear reaction on a retest. Certainly not as a measured move trade, but more than likely, if we test down here, we could get something like this, 2 legs up, which could then push down into like a smaller failed second entry, which can offer us a another short opportunity. So anyway, I'm going to just remove all this. Just wanted to give a quick explanation of what could happen next, but I'm going to get back into focusing up a bit. And yeah, so over here on the ES, haven't really been looking at it as much. You can see here it wasn't quite as perfect. You can see you got this first leg up here, second leg up, but with the bodies it made a new low, so it's less trustworthy. But still 2-legged move up before that push down. And yeah, so this channel, if we get another hold on it, then that could push down into another failed second entry. Overall, this downtrend has a break and a new low, so we do need to consider a larger reversal possibility. But I'm kind of thinking price might just hold on this trend until we reach this larger down measured move. This could be the real turning point before we reverse higher. So anyway, just wanted to explain that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording again, and I might be done recording for the day. I kind of just see how I'll feel, but just wanted to record these trades and explain what I'm looking at here and go over the chart a bit. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. I might record later, but this might also be it, so I'll kind of just see. But have a great day, everybody. Alright, so I thought that I was going to be done recording, but I just figured I'd record this because I just got into it. And so on this one, I'm not going to be going for as much because it's a smaller entry. And so we're going to do 80 on here. So what we have here is these clear 2 legs up, first entry short, second entry short, and then I just got in after this bar here. I was interested when I started seeing this, of course, but I waited for this because that closed above the EMA, and in this case here I wanted it to close below just because it started getting kind of choppy here. And let me just draw out these legs here. So first leg up, second leg up, great measured move right here, pushed on through the EMA, got in with a limit order, and now just writing it down to here. And yeah, so I just I know I said I was done in the last recording, but it was just right here. I still had OBS open. I figured I'd get another recording in. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let this trade record out, and I'm just gonna let it play out and let y'all enjoy it. So I'll see y'all later. All right, great. So we are filled. Just a nice quick trade, 2 legs up, pushed into 2 legs down. And yeah, so just wanted to get another recording in. Like I said, I was going to be done earlier, but I still had OBS open. Figured I might as well share more. And so yeah, as price continues down here, we had this measured move in play. And you can see we got a couple legs up because of it, but ultimately price pushed on through and made a retest. It wasn't quite a retest of it, but it was attempting to reverse after pushing on through. And so that's very typical to see in a strong trend. In this case, of course, a downtrend. And so when you have a strong downtrend, we already knew price was strong bearish. So when we got this down measured move here and price pushes right on through, makes a couple legs back up with a great push below the EMA, then we know this trend is really strong because this measured move did not affect anything. So anyway, just wanted to, share what I'm doing here even more. And yeah, I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching. Alright, I just wanted to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed these trades. I am going to keep trading for another hour and a half, but I am going to be wrapping up the recording for real now. So, just to do a quick recap, here on the NQ, we started off, price was pretty quickly put into this downtrend here. From yesterday, it was just in this large range. We have this sharp leg down, or not sharp, but, we have this leg down, a break, makes a second leg down, and so that is really what pushed us into this downtrend. And so as price pushes lower here, this is our overnight high, this is our overnight low level, but overall very down. Price, you can see here, goes into this downtrend. We get a break, a couple legs at a new low. Price just pushed on through that measured move, which really indicates the bears are coming in, because when price breaks out, this is not only just a measured move being met, this is a fade area because of the overnight low. When price breaks out, it's very common to see a fade higher, especially if a measured move is being met. And so when price pushes on through here, you can see a very strong failure just occurred. So, because from here it's like downtrend, break, new low. So a new low from a trend playing out at an overnight low with a reversal attempt that fails, that's really telling you the bears are coming in, because there's bulls here that are thinking this downtrend just played out, this bigger downtrend just played out with 2 legs to a new low, and it's broken out of the overnight low. This is a great place to get long, is what they're thinking, and so they just buy it up, failing to realize that price overall is in a very large downtrend. We have this wider trend forming as well, and then that led to a very strong failure, pushing right through that measured move. And it pushed through here. It looks like it made a couple attempts to reverse and maybe make a retest, but ultimately that failed. You can see we have that first attempt up, and then that second attempt up, and then another failure. And so, it just kind of, it was just very bearish all day. It got sideways right here, another reversal attempt. This reversal attempt led to a large failed second entry. So from the top here, we have first entry long, second entry long, and then this is where we would look to get in on the failure. In this case here, we don't really get a good chance, but it pushes on down here, and then we get a 2-legged retest of that previous support level while in a strong downtrend. So we got short on that. Pushed about halfway. Obviously no one likes to see it push against them, but this is just a part of trading, so there's nothing atypical about this. We got a great 2-legged retest with a very strong push down. We had this down measured move still in play, and then price had a couple of attempts higher after reaching that measured move, and so it had a clear reaction there, but ultimately it pushed on through and then made these 2 legs back, which I liked after it got below the EMA. So even though because here's the thing, this measured move, it still had the capacity to retest it here, and so that's why I didn't want to short it above the EMA, because it still, like I said, could go up and reach that on a retest. But when price pushes lower here, then yeah, it's just sticking with the overall trend. So that's when I liked getting in with limit order. Price managed to, this bar opened here, okay, and then it triggered, and then I got filled on a limit order, and then it chopped around a bit, and then finally pushed on down. Even though it chopped around for a bit, this was still a relatively quick trade. You can see I entered around 1040, and I got out around 1044, so very quick trade. This is the 250 tick chart. Just wanted to mention in case I hadn't mentioned it yet. And yeah, so now we've pushed on down, and we're getting this reversal attempt. It's, basically taking back the reversal at this point. But we could get a second leg up and see what price does. That first leg is pushing above the EMA. The second leg, if we get a measured leg, is obviously going to be way above the EMA, and it's not going to be retesting anything significant. So I would want to wait on a push lower before getting short directly on a measured move like that. And of course, at this point, it's too late now. But yeah, so, and then over on the ES, you can see here, we have, let me just go to the beginning. We have overnight high, overnight low. We're in this range right here, downtrend in play. And you can see from this downtrend, broke out of the overnight low, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. That is where the retest would be. We got these two legs back right here. I like getting short after this bar right here. In this case, I didn't mind the EMA because it had a clear double top and was also a perfect measured move with a pin bar reaction. And so I didn't mind entering into the EMA. However, I did not want to buy it directly on the measured move level. I still wanted to wait for that confirmation. And then looking back, there is one thing I'll say about this. So when we got these two attempts lower here, and it held, that should have set my alarms off a little bit more. And here's what I think I should have done. So after we made these two attempts down here and then started reversing on higher, I feel like I should have just raised my target a bit and gotten out early. And I know that would have reduced the risk to reward, but ultimately I kind of did hold for a while after it was really holding on that support. Now, there are times when I wouldn't care, but in this case here, with this wider downtrend that we had forming, you can see, first leg, second leg, it's overall forming a wider downtrend. Price did not get very low in this downtrend, indicating that, there's a chance that this trend is becoming weaker and that more bulls are coming in. And so just combining that with the fact that I kept it even after all of that support was holding, tells me I should have just taken it a bit early and accepted that in the middle of the trade too much support formed. But ultimately, after we got this two-legged move up to the key entry point, that was enough to push it into a little breakout. But we all learn from what we trade and what we do, so, which I'm going to turn off these. It's funny, I just found out how to turn on the plots again after a very long time, which over on the NQ, you can see here, we got in at right here, got out right here. This is the pink ones are sell, the blue ones are buy, so that's our short, and then that's our buy target. Short, and then that's our buy target down there. And so, yeah, just wanted to kind of do a recap of everything I'm doing here, which I'm going to take these plots off. It just clutters up everything, especially if you have the words enabled. Oh, I guess I turned them off here. So anyway, yeah, just wanted to go over today and kind of just show what I'm doing here. And, I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you enjoyed these trades. I really hope you learned something from this. You really just got to stick with the trend and, be open to, changing gears quickly. That's really a big thing. Like here especially, this is a good lesson area because, as price plays out with this downtrend right here, you can see downtrend break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. This is a good area to study because there's going to be a lot of people confused about whether to try to get in on a fade or try to get in on a breakout. And, sometimes you just got to sit on your hands and wait for price to, move to a better area, an easier area to find an entry. And in this case here, that's what we needed to do because, yeah, this downtrend is in play. It's finding, it's not perfect support right here, but it's still finding support. It's making these bounces higher around the overnight low. And so when it's chopping up and down between the overnight high and low, or excuse me, when it's chopping up and down between, in this case, just the overnight low, you just kind of want to wait for price to get into a neater area because you can get chopped to pieces when price is breaking out, fading, breaking out, fading. And so, ultimately this failure launched, pushed us into a very big downtrend. And so, Anyway, just wanted to go over everything, and I really appreciate you watching this video, and thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.